what kind of what awakened you? What brought the red pill awareness to you, as far as it changing your whole outlook on life and
Yeah.
realizing that these uncomfortable truths?
That was late in life for me. It was because I was 38, 39 or so when I got divorced. It was definitely late 30s. Started dating right away. Then got involved in a 3-year LTR with a single mommy with 2 kids, which was a total like mess. And that's what red pilled me, was that was like I was around 43 and I'm like, this is messed up. Like it was like my entire life I was just looking back at it at like 43 and I'm like, how is it that women are not what I've been told that they're supposed to be? They're not sugar and spice and all things nice. They don't behave in a way that's congruent with all the Disney movies that I've consumed my entire life. And it was just like one thing after another. It was like dominoes started to fall, and it was like you just had to follow the entire path of dominoes kind of like leading down. I'll tell you where it all started for me. I was on
Yeah.
a men's retreat with a bunch of guys, and I was talking to this guy Tom, who was the guy that introduced me to the red pill with the rational male. And we're just shooting the shit about relationships, and he's like, dude, you really got to like read Rollo Tomasi's book, The Rational Male. And I'm like, all right, done. I'll take whatever recommendation you got, because I'm out of my own shit right now. Like, I'm out of my own material. So what do you got? Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I downloaded the audiobook and I listened to it on the flight back. I was in Spokane, Washington. We were at this guys thing. There's about 30 guys at Ben Greenfield's house, and we are doing this biohack and all this kind of cool shit. But yeah, like I listened to this thing on the flight back, and I was just like, wow, that was deep. I gotta go through that again. And I went through the book like 2 or 3 times before I even started talking about it. But even prior to that, like I was still talking about some relationship stuff on my channel. I remember somebody once said about 6 or 12 months prior to that, they're like, you should do a video on the kind of women to avoid dating. And that was kind of a red pill video before I was even red pilled.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. So you were putting out like that type of content before you actually like fully awakened.
Yeah, like I started to see, the reality of certain behaviors, and I was like, okay, there's a consistent pattern of behavior. Like if you date single moms, which you're going to end up doing if you get divorced at 39, you don't know shit like I did, then you're going to go out with enough of them to be like, okay, there's a consistent pattern here of some serious BS.
I'm just firing at the blog talk. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, there's like a consistent pattern of some serious BS here that I gotta get some clarity on. It's like, making some clips on that, which really seemed to resonate well with a lot of guys. That was just the start. Like that was a catalyst for me. You know what I mean? Are you still muted, bro?
Oh, yeah. No, I'm here. No, what I was gonna say was, so the single mom experience is really what red pill. What year was this? Was this around 2015, 2016?
I don't know. That we split up 2015. That was about 5 years ago, I think.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. And I guess and
your show will go live in 5 seconds.
And we're gonna fire up the phone lines here, guys. We'll take the phone calls later on, you know what I mean? But I'm just firing them up now. But anyway, so like I was saying, so you read the book and you went over it like 4 or 5 times. And it's crazy, man, because like because I have a friend here in Miami, and what red pilled him was also a single mom, and he got it through Tom Likas, and he listened to Tom Likas. He listened to one of his broadcasts like 3 times in a row. It's like when you get the information, it's like, what? And then you like listen to it again and again and again. You're like, oh my God. And it's like, it's like this moment. Cause even like for me, I grew up in a Arab Muslim household. So I had always kind of like known these truths because my parents had talked about it. Even my mom would tell me these truths. And I always was like, what are you guys talking about? And then it wasn't until I like went out into the world and I saw how things really operate that I was like, oh, this is why they told me to do things like this or whatever it may be. So that's very, very interesting. So, so you were with the girl for about 5 years. You changed your outlook. So like, what changed when you finally like took the pill and you went on about your life? Like, have you just been like, I'm not gonna date a long-term relationship wise, never live with a woman? Like, did you live with this woman and everything like that?
No. We were, and it wasn't 5 years. It was only 3. We split up in 2015. So that was 5 years ago. But there was like talk of like living together, and she was talking about marriage and shit like that. And I remember like early on, she brought up like marriage like within the first 6 or 7 months. I'm like, this is like before I was awake. I'm like, look, I've got my shit sorted out. I got a kid from a prior marriage. I need to make sure that my estate is dispersed to where it needs to go. A prenup would need to be in place before I'd even consider that. And she lost her shit, right? Like right away. So that's one of the tests that you got to use with women is the prenup talk. You know, when it comes to vetting them and getting through the red flags, because if she's going to lose her shit over you saying, I want to protect my assets and make sure my kids get what's, you know, deserved of them rather than giving it away to somebody else's kids or somebody else's life. And they lose their mind over it, that's a pretty good indicator that you've got some problems coming your way. But yeah, you know, there was talk of blending dude, I didn't even know what the hell blending families was. She kept saying this word, blending families. I mean, this is so bizarre. Why would I want to blend, like put my family in a blender and blend it up with yours? Like, yeah, you know, like invite your crap and mix it up with my stuff. But yeah, it's really bizarre, man. A lot of guys get super caught up in it. Like a lot of guys just get sucked into the vortex. I mean, one of the biggest problems that guys choose to invite into their lives when I'm doing my coaching sessions with guys, like when I do consults, is they get wound up with single mommies. Like bizarre how they'll put them up on a pedestal, like worship them. And, you know, in all fairness, like I was kind of there myself too, right? But when you realize who you are, what your worth is, man, and how your value has continued to go up over time, if you've done the work on yourself, obviously, and women, as time goes on, you know, past the age of their early 20s, their value goes down. There's a total disconnect. And a lot of guys don't realize that their value is considerably higher, or it should be higher than what it is. And they should hold themselves to higher standards and have some dignity about the women that they're going to invite in their lives. But a lot of guys don't. They're just like, oh, you know, I can get scraps over here. Good, let's go, right?
Yeah. And you know, Rich, I'm really glad you brought that up because that's how actually I discovered your content. I remember the first video I saw of yours, this was, man, like maybe almost 2 years ago now, was the SMV video where you had the chart and then you talked about how a man's value, like, you know, as he gets older, it goes up while a woman simultaneously declines. And then you guys intersect right around that 30 years old. And that's when she's trying to, you know, lock you down because women know on like an innate level that their values derive from their looks, and youth is a big part of that. And obviously they have a biological time clock as well. And that was kind of like an eye opener, like, oh, wow, like men, we don't adhere to the same mating timeline that women want. You know what I'm saying? Like,
if nobody tells guys this, nobody will sit a man down in his 19th year and say, men, this is what you need to know about your value. And at the same token, most guys won't even want to hear it. I mean, if you try to sit most guys down, I bet you 9 out of 10 guys, it'll be like in one ear and out the other, and they'll go chasing Becky down the road, putting her up on a pedestal. It's really only until they get older and they've matured and they really see like how bad choices can really affect them and erode their opportunities in life that they take shit seriously.
Yeah, that was one of the biggest truth bombs. I remember I shared that video with so many of my friends, Rich. Like, I was just like, what? Like, because like in my head, I was like, this is so true because girls are always angling for some type of exclusivity with you as soon as they get older. You know what I'm saying? And that's when you're getting older, your money's starting to finally come in, you're starting to do well. And I can't tell you how many guys I know, man, like that got married in their late 20s to a girl that they went to school with. And in my head, I'm like, you guys are idiots because your value is just trying to increase, you know? Whereas like if you had asked that girl 10 years prior when she was 19, 20, hey, you want to get married? She would say, hell no, because she's enjoying her time. So like nowadays, when I advise guys on consultations, whatever, I tell them never adhere to a woman's dating timeline. If she tries to pressure you into like marriage or anything like that,
never enter her frame ever, ever. It's always got to be, she has to complement your life and enter your frame. Otherwise you're setting yourself up from the get-go for a very, very bad experience.